Well, thank you very much, Hussein. I appreciate this opportunity. For those of you who don't recognize me from the program, I've got my COVID beard and I decided to dye my hair gray for COVID as well. I do recognize a number of you from our contact list, a number of speakers and attendees, and I appreciate this occasion to explain the who, what, where, and of Space Place Canada to encourage more of you to get involved. And I really appreciate this. As Hussein has mentioned, we are a non-for-profit corporation comprised of professionals from across North America, our leadership team from across Canada, volunteering their time, determined to build support for a 21st century public planetarium for Toronto. We have a leadership team led by a board that includes a few names that may be familiar. Randy Atwood, recently retired Executive Director of RASC. Kirsten Van Stone, Senior Management Operations Fields Institute and former Executive Director of the Royal Canadian Institute for Science. Michael Fick, Professor of Astronomy at University of Waterloo, and Joanne Davis, former Chair of the Catholic Separate School Board. Now, what is our vision? Vision 1. To bring a 21st century public planetarium to Toronto by creating a virtual planetarium, an accessible education website, read age appropriate and layperson accessible and legible, building support for a physical planetarium, a virtual planetarium and website with a global reach and links to provincial curriculum. I must add that that was in our vision before COVID, recognizing that we, although the physical building may eventually be in Toronto, we have a much larger community to serve. Supplementing and supporting formal education, lifelong learning, and general public edutainment, tourism, and demonstrating the value add for all stakeholders and users, students, parents, teachers, and the merely curious. Space Place will support STEM, STEM and arts, education, careers, and recruitment. Vision 2, highlight Canadian research and activities and history. There is a lot of space and astronomy content on the internet, but much more is needed from a Canadian perspective. A Canadian perspective is not only crossing the boundary between Earth and space, but examining perspectives of the sky of different cultures, religions, and Aboriginal communities, and utilizing technology such as VR, AR, and AI in an innovative and exciting storytelling format. Vision 3 is ensuring and nurturing access from those in priority communities. Finally, further public engagement in STEAM, and I must admit I'm using STEAM and STEM interchangeably, STEM being a much more familiar acronym. Further in public engagement in STEAM to promote STEAM education at all ages and STEAM career aspirations. Every day will be career day at Space Place. I should expand a bit on our leadership team. Hussein, but I skipped a page. Hussein has mentioned that I'm a retired Foreign Service officer trade and research economist. But really pertinent here is that I've been engaged in tourism infrastructure development and management, including a proposal that would have transformed Maple Leaf Gardens into a multi-purpose facility, including a planetarium. So you could say I've had a dry run for this effort from 12 years ago. Important lessons learned, including the merging of the tourism objectives with our educational and science objectives. And I should also mention that other members of our leadership team include CBC's Bob McDonald, who led the effort most recently with Geospace to bring a planetarium to Toronto. Drew Fagan, former Ontario Deputy Minister of Infrastructure and Deputy Minister of Tourism. And we're also aided in our work by renowned planetarium consultant Ian McLennan and architect Bill Chomick from Cassian Architects. So we have assembled a professional team and a team of volunteers. Back to the vision, I've also wanted to comment on STEAM awareness, education, and employment. Research in STEM education identified widespread concern over the lack of awareness among students and parents of the relevance of STEAM for future education and employment opportunities. There is a need to improve students' and parents' understanding of the connection of STEAM disciplines to a wide range of careers. Space Place will raise awareness beyond the structured school environment, complementing messaging being developed in the school curriculum. And this is a key gap that we need to address. I know governments are concerned. Let's Talk Science is working with us, with government on this, and we see a very important role for Space Place. From vision to reality, first steps, the next page. Virtual planetarium and educational website with a global reach and links to provincial curriculum. This is where we have launched stage 1. And you can see the early results of our effort. Our beta site can be found on spaceplacecanada.ca. And in the coming weeks, we will be dramatically expanding the educational content in our site and enhanced design. Space Place and site content is being promoted and will be promoted through our now virtual events and extensive social media contacts. Our social media can be found on Facebook at Space Place Canada, Twitter at Space Place CDA, and Instagram, instagram.com/Space Place Canada. The details, and for your reference, are in the PowerPoint for circulation to all participants at the conference. The other element of making this a reality is our launched virtual event. This Thursday at 7 p.m. is our inaugural virtual event, where Space Place Canada explores Canada's role in space, Canada and the Final Frontier, looking back with Randy Atwood. Registration is free, but participants are encouraged to donate. Of course, Randy, one of our own, and may be familiar to many of you. This is the first of at least a 2-part series exploring Canada and the Final Frontier. The second part looks at the future of space from microsatellites to moon landings. The series is a great opportunity, if I don't say so myself, for summit participants and your contacts to engage. We would not be here without the support of our initial sponsors, MDA, who's been with us from the beginning, and Stratia, and our Mercury sponsor, Global Public Affairs. Would you like to join them? We have Jupiter, Mars, and Mercury sponsorships available. We have many virtual events under development and very attractive sponsorship packages. We would also welcome your input as well on future event topics, raising awareness of new developments about space, Canada in space. And we would also encourage engagement in our other work activities, including website committees, website design, content planning, fundraising, and recruitment, basically to explore your and your institutional interests as they intersect with Spaceplace. Now, who do we engage? For over 3 years in development, we have attracted an exponentially growing, broadly based, and highly qualified professional and student constituency, drawn from over now 5,200 contacts, including students, parents, teachers, young, not so young, and retired professionals. These are largely or almost exclusively in STEM occupations and are especially concentrated in engineering and aerospace. I've got a very good oversight of our activities in engineering and aerospace in Canada from our contact list. 2/3 of this, our contacts are in the Greater Toronto, Hamilton, Waterloo region, 90% within Canada. We have not been recruiting outside of Canada to date, but international outreach and the next wave of domestic outreach will commence once more of our curriculum links education content is ready. More details of these demographics are available on request, and we would expect to ramp up to at least 10,000 contacts and over 500 event participants by the spring as we ramp up our virtual events. Communications to date confirms interest in not just layperson accessible and age appropriate content about space, but the link between STEAM education and careers. From vision to reality, next steps. The building. Our ultimate aim is to build the necessary support to bring a physical planetarium to Toronto that will serve a broad community of interests. A physical building must serve the needs of Toronto tourism infrastructure, as well as its educational needs. In enhancing Toronto's attractiveness as a tourist destination, we also further Canadian objectives, promoting Canada as a destination for highly qualified immigrants and students. This is a very important link that I certainly learned in the tourism file, particularly on the recovery of SARS, of how important to other sectors our branding and our tourism is, well beyond what is strictly the tourist economy. We are a safe haven in the world. We are looked upon that way. And when we present a good face for tourists, then we also present a good face for attracting highly qualified immigrants and foreign students. We envisage the facility should include theater, permanent and temporary exhibits, specialized multimedia presentation space, instruction space, digital media production, and collaborative partner research, post-secondary outreach, and possibly co-location of science and astronomy advocacy organizations. So we are seeking enough space to be able to accommodate all of that ecosystem, if you will, and some of our institutional partners and ourselves are talking about how we can move forward together in co-location. The facility theater will be more than a planetarium. The advanced projection technology available today and those in the planning stages will allow the planetarium theater to be capable of also being a multi-purpose performance hall and cinematic theater as well. One thing to stress is what we can call a 20th century or a 21st century or a 2030s planetarium building for the late 2020s and the 2030s will look a lot different and have much more capabilities than the planetariums that we grew up with or that you're even familiar with now. And that's an important distinction in integrating the new technologies to be able to deliver programming even in the facility in different ways, a more interactive, engaged way, as opposed to a passive presentation. Bringing the champions and partners together, next page. We are liaising with development partners and landlords about prospective locations for the Space Place physical site. And I can talk more about that in the Q&A as to where we have already made some inroads and where to give you an idea of our capacities and our framework. A physical space that will attract families, students, and teachers, as well as tourists in a Toronto core location. To meet tourism objectives, we have deliberately chosen to restrict our search to date to high traffic locations with existing transportation infrastructure. We seek champions and partners that can help make this happen and can assist at any steps along the way. Of course, the Space Place mission linking STEM and STEAM education and careers also further government and corporate objectives. We encourage partners and sponsors to not only assist us bring Toronto and Canada a 21st century planetarium to serve the needs and curiosity of the community, but consider how your own objectives can be served aligning with Space Place. Can Space Place add in your corporate social responsibility and public outreach and recruitment efforts? Can we help you reach prospective role models of STEAM students and professionals in priority communities? I do feel that our contact list is a phenomenal asset given the granularity of the profile of those that have reached out to us. Let's talk about how we can help, not only how you can help launch Space Place, and we can together can go boldly in the future. Finally, don't forget to register for our inaugural virtual event, Thursday at 7. You can find us at spaceplacecanada.ca and email me at chair@spaceplacecanada.ca for the live Eventbrite link. The Eventbrite link and the contact information is provided in the PowerPoint presented. Once again, thank you very much, and I'd be very pleased to take questions with the time allowed. Thank you so much.
What an amazing presentation. Thank you so much, Henry. I can say it for myself. I know the importance of a planetarium in Toronto firsthand because as a kid, um, I have visited the observatory in Richmond Hill so many times um, because I was able to. So I think it's really, really important. A really, really cool thing that you're doing here. And I really believe we really hope that the Canadian community can make that into a reality, especially the Toronto community in the vicinity. I do have one question that was raised. Um, well, now two questions. What happened to the Zeiss projector that was in the former McLaughlin Planetarium? Can it be put back in service?
That is an interesting story. I first inquired about that when I first got involved, now what, 12, 13 years ago, in when we were looking at Maple Leaf Gardens. I believe it was sold to York University for $1. Certainly, even in the mid 2000s, the technology was many years out of date. Um, I I think it would have made a great exhibit, but certainly not as a projector. But it was last seen at York. Where it is now, I'm not sure.
Well, if you've got the
Besides, the McLaughlin one from McLaughlin.
Yeah, if you've got the whereabouts, this is to the audience. If you've got the whereabouts of that projector, do let Henry know. I'm sure.
Yes,
he'll
we'd
be
love to
delighted.
have it as an exhibit. I should mention a number of people in our leadership team were former staffers of McLaughlin. We have people that claim to or attest to being at the last performance, and were in fact ran the projector. And have etched their names in the walls of the building. Although the building used for storage is being prepared for demolition, I understand their names are still there. Now, a logical question here is why not the McLaughlin site? That I get asked quite frequently. It is owned by the U of T. The assessment had been that it was not large enough, even at that time, to serve properly as a planetarium. So the footprint is far too small. And there is questions about how the location, although it was beside the museum, may not have been ideal for sustaining the tourism interest. And the tourism dollars is an important component, as discussed in my presentation, for the economic package.
Excellent point, Henry. I've got one more question because of the time. Zach is asking, do you plan to work with other institutions and science centers in Canada to expand your programming?
Absolutely. We've already reached out for programming. We already have staffers from the Royal Ontario Museum on our leadership team. We are reaching out to the new management at this Ontario Science Centre, and we look forward to collaborations. We also hope that our downtown site can serve, if you will, as a satellite location to profile and promote other science educational institutions, given our window to the tourism community. And if the Ontario Science Centre stays in its current location, for example, we can offer them a window downtown in exchange for the collaboration and reaching, given our common interests.
And I believe just with that, we will have to wrap up the session. I really want to thank you, Henry, for bringing this insight into this community. And I believe I have posted the link for the Thursday event in the chat. So if
Thank you
anybody is
very
interested
much.
from the community, please go ahead and join that event.
If you're able to circulate the Eventbrite link, that's the one thing I can't do live. But if that's for the group, and I thank you and the other organizers very much, and look forward to engaging many of you in the future. We'd love to have you on board. We have many different opportunities to serve. Thank you so much, and have
Pleasure
a
to
good
have you,
day.
Henry.
And
Thank you so
everyone
much.
stay safe.